What's up, everyone? Welcome to Hidden Power. I'm Dusty Go-Goat. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sold over 10 million units in their first 3 days. Today we've got Lumiose Post.
Hey guys.
And Soul Silver Art.
What's up, what's up?
Hidden Power is a Pokemon podcast. This is our third episode 0, Scarlet and Violet. We're about 2 weeks post-release.
I said this last time, but I beat the game, so I'm boring. I've been working on getting the Ruinous Quartet, and I have been able to catch all 4 now, and I even just perfected, so like got his IVs, EVs, all that done with Chi-Yu, so that was fun.
Wow.
Jeez, yeah. I'm still collecting those ruins. I keep finding them random ones all over the place. I haven't unlocked any of them yet.
They're so fun. I love them. I mean, that's, I love that the legendaries, I think I mentioned this before, but I love that the legendaries are no longer walk into a cave and there it is. There's something you got to work for them. Some of them are really hard to find.
Soul, how far are you into Scarlet and Violet? You're playing Violet?
I'm playing Violet, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been dealing with Violet versus Scarlet things recently too, so that's funny. But yes, I am not much farther than the last time that we spoke. I am just taking my time with all of it. I beat 2 gyms and 2 titans, so I'm just like kind of at the early stages. Lumi actually sent over to me a list of all of the levels of each of the titans, bosses, whatever you want to call them, gyms. And so I've just been following that, which is kind of fun.
That's how I did mine, yep. I'm glad that came in handy for you.
Do
Yeah.
the Titans, I forget, do the Titans show the level when you battle them?
No, they don't. But there's a general, there's a hidden level behind it.
Well,
I don't know how people figured it out, but
you can catch them afterwards, some of them at least. You can kind of go to around the area where you battled them, and they'll just be, it's them because they'll just be standing there. They're no longer Titan sized, but they're the biggest size that Pokemon can be, other than Titan size. And if you catch them, they even have the special mark where it'll say Cloth the former Titan.
oh, dude, I need to go do that.
Yeah, I love that so much.
I really need to do that.
I gotta check.
I know it's that for at least Cloth and Orthworm. I don't know about the others though. I think people have said that Great Tusk, just after you've beaten the Titan, you can find, they're a really rare spawn, but Great Tusk is found in Asado Desert.
Maybe
or
that's what it
Iron
was.
Treads, depending on the version.
All right. Well, so I have now also joined the ranks. I've beaten the game. I'm about 65 hours in. I mean, we'll get into it in this episode, but I definitely have started to look at Scarlet and Violet a lot differently than I did when I was in the middle of the game. We'll get into that later. The Pokemon that are still on my team: Cerulege, Skeledirge, Baxcalibur, Great Tusk, and I also caught a shiny Jumpluff in Area 0.
I love how all those
2
are
days
so
ago.
fierce and then Jumpluff.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Here, for the viewers, I'll show you. Here, I'll do one of these.
Nice.
There's the Jumpluff.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this game. I think so. The big news that we're recording this 2 weeks after Scarlet and Violet have come out. Both of you guys did have birthdays. Maybe we didn't get into that, but it's felt like a very momentous week. And
Happy birthday week.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Happy birthday week. But then also the new headline was that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sold over 10 million units in their first 3 days. Which is a Nintendo record, but I think that has to also be a Pokemon record. And it's, 10 million units, guys. This is that is almost as much as some other games in their entire life, other Pokemon games have sold in their entire lifespan. Do you guys have any hot takes about this right off the bat?
First off, I am curious if, just because it's also a very anticipated game, I'm very excited for when I keep wanting to call it Breath of the Wild 2. What is it? Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
When that comes out, I'm curious if that will match this, how close it'll be to it, if it'll beat it. That's this Breath of the Wild. Was that the previous record? Was Breath of the Wild?
I'm gonna look it up right now.
I don't think it'll compete. I don't know. Well, compete. Yes, it will compete, but I don't think it will top it.
So
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
it looks like
I
total,
know,
crazy.
like,
It looks like
That's the
total
big
copies
three.
sold is for Breath of the Wild is 27 million. That's lifespan. That's like the entire lifespan of the game.
We just that's 10 million in 3 days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of wild.
I'm looking at
And you
past
know there's going to be a
games.
bump in the like in a couple weeks with the Christmas.
Yeah.
Right, I'm looking at past games, and if this is correct, like Pokemon Black and White sold 15.64 million units,
Yeah.
and this game in 3 days in its lifetime, and then this game has sold 10 million in 3 days.
Yeah.
That's
I'd imagine they're going to get a big
insane.
buff in December for Christmas sales. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It's totally insane.
so then the narrative has always been like Pokemon will put out a third version and it'll sell marginally less than the original two versions. And what people will always say is like, okay, well, it didn't sell enough, therefore they're not going to make more games like this. Or or a new generation will come out, not sell very much, right? I feel like this is mostly during like the DS era. There's been a huge resurgence with Pokemon since Pokemon Go in 2016. So I feel like that hasn't been such a big issue. Also, all of these new Pokemon games have been on the Nintendo Switch, which again has a huge user base, right? There are people who want to play Switch games, especially Pokemon. And it's just interesting to see that like the first Pokemon game that has come out that has actually felt like, I guess BDSP is the first Pokemon game that's come out that's like been buggy, but this is like a brand new Pokemon game, and we all know how buggy it is and how unfinished it feels and unpolished, and it just doesn't feel complete. And somehow this is like the best selling Pokemon game so far in the first 3 days at least, right?
Yeah.
So the conversation I think what we want to discuss today is like I don't know, like how is Pokemon gonna how are they gonna pivot with this, right? Are they gonna continue? I mean, I think they're gonna continue to make games at as high of as quick of a rate as they have been, right? Because there's clearly no problem when it comes to the money.
Definitely.
Yeah. No, I agree. And just I guess what we can hope for is, because for the record, for me, like the visual glitches, like frame rate issues and all that, like obviously I would want them to be fixed, like in a perfect world, but they are not something that has remotely hindered the game experience for me. I know some people it has, and that's totally fair, but like for me, it's just that's not what I care about. I've played Pokemon, and I really only play Pokemon. I don't play Zelda. I don't play, Xenoblade or any of that. So to me, this looks like one of the most beautiful video games I've ever seen because I've only played Pokemon.
That's fair. I kind of fall into that same boat. Like a lot of people will compare, various games, and I'm like, I don't. The best
like
game I've ever
Xenoblade.
Played is Skyrim, and that's from 2011, and it looks like that. Right? So
Xenoblade is the one.
You're right.
I've seen people compare Xenoblade to it a lot, and it's just like, that does look really good, and I'd love it if it looked like that. You know what? I'm fine with this. The only bug that, like, for me is like, you have to get rid of this is the game crashing thing. I know that Dusty, I don't think you've experienced it. I know Soul, you said you haven't, but it's happened to me 7 times, and it has happened to my wife 3 or 4 times. And that is, that's something that has to be fixed. Like, your game can't crash 7 times.
Yeah, it's like I told you in our chat, actually, for all the listeners out there as well, there's like a little hack to it that if you move your save data, if you have it on an SD card, and you move it to your actual console, basically, it might fix that problem. I mean, it's dumb that you have to make workarounds like this, but if it works, it works.
I've seen that buzzing around the internet, and I've also heard that while it does help, it's like so small that it might not even be an issue. The other thing that I heard was like if you play the game for 6 hours, that's when problems start occurring. But
I would say that lines up.
But there are some people who like only play like an hour or so, shut it off, and haven't had any issues. However,
you mean like from? I thought you meant once you have 6 hours on your save file. It ain't like that for me. I picked it up yesterday, and after 20 minutes, it busted out.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. So that's it. There's a lot of anecdotal, advice, solutions Do you guys think we're actually going to get a patch? People keep talking about a patch. I mean, we have gotten patches in the past.
Yeah.
So
I think we will.
I do think we're going to get one. I've heard things from certain people, and I think that it might be coming eventually. I don't, like timelines with Game Freak is crazy. I mean, they haven't even like said anything about this game since it released.
Yeah,
it's kind of blowing my mind, but it's also not been that long.
There's usually an update for the game once they patch in home compatibility. So I wouldn't be surprised if they tack it on with that. I know that is a kind of grueling wait because that's supposed to be
a long wait.
2023. But I mean, it is like what you said, Soul. I mean, sometimes that's Game Freak's timelines.
Absolutely, because they're already working on the new games. Like no doubt, they already are like, all right, that one's in the books. Let's keep going, and then they
Gen
have, like,
10's being worked on right now. Like that's a wild thought that we only 2 weeks ago the game came out. So about 3 weeks ago was when we for the first time saw Meowscarada, Skeledirge, and Quackwavel. And right now someone has drawn them up and they are probably making the models for whatever the Gen 10 final evolutions are. That's just a crazy thought.
Wow. Yep. That's real though.
Right.
Pretty much confirmed, as they've done it with like every game basically forever. So
Gen 10's in China.
I don't know about that one, but we can get into that another time.
There are a lot of interesting like hints. Like I was reading the Caparaja Dex entry, and then obviously we know Caparaja was supposed to be from another region. That's in the Dex entry for in the Galar Dex, but they say it even again in Paldea that it was imported to Paldea from a faraway region. So again, I'm just that's not China, but everyone thinks,
China or India, right?
Yeah, everyone's assuming India. It's just kind of interesting that they're just dropping these little flakes.
Yeah.
You know what? Another thing that we've talked about is how Scarlet and Violet, Soul. This was our pet theory with really no evidence that that Scarlet and Violet in Generation 9 would last 4 years in order for the 30th Pokemon anniversary to line up with Generation 10. That was just our kind of our pet theory, and I think the second layer of not even evidence, but just our second hunch was that Gen 9 is a big game, and we want them to take their time with Generation 10, and I don't know, I think it's a little concerning now to think that as buggy as this game is and this engine is, right, they're gonna be building new games off of this engine. Is that really what we want, right? Do I actually want Gen 10 a lot sooner now?
I mean, I do.
Yes.
But
yeah. Yes.
I do, but at the same time, I really believe the whole 4 years to Gen 10 thing, 30th anniversary. It's not just was a theory; it's a big theory for me right now. It's sad to think about. But yeah,
I think that they will do Gen 10 on 29th anniversary, so it's still your classic 3 years. And this is my bold prediction. This is going to be my tinfoil hat, just not going to come true theory, but I am going to hold on to it until it's disproven. I think in the 30th year anniversary, they'll do, because it'll be the year after Gen 10's released, they will drop DLC for Gen 10. And I do think that it will, through the different DLCs, whether it's 2 acts like Sword and Shield, or if it's 3, whatever, I think they will bring back all the Pokemon and do a national dex, at least for Gen 10.
I don't know, man.
Bold.
The 30th.
Yeah,
very
for the
bold.
30th.
My main issue with that, someone left a comment yesterday on a video about that, and my main issue with that is we are finally, I feel like most fans are finally at the acceptance phase of national dex.
Yeah,
and they would just be shooting themselves in the foot to actually just go back on that, give us what we actually, you know what I'm saying, to reintroduce that pain.
I 100% agree, but for a counterpoint, I want you to look at the marketing cycle for Scarlet and Violet and tell me what is sensible about Game Freak when it comes to marketing and appealing to the fans.
I'm glad we got here, actually, because this is kind of still circles back to them selling 10 million copies in 3 days. The marketing, I feel like the way that they did it, the marketing was not great in my opinion. A lot of people loved it. I did not. But the selling point of it just being open world is how they got that many
Yeah.
I
sales.
think it
I'm
was
pretty
leaks.
sure.
I think it was leaks.
That's definitely possible too. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, and
it's a
not
huge
just
part.
like not just leaks in terms of like, actually knowing all the Pokemon. Like we knew the starters evolutions, like at least their typings, like way back in like June or something. It was a long time
Earlier,
ago.
yeah,
Right.
May.
And then like we even saw actual not game footage but game pictures, with like Palmet and stuff, because of that one leaker actually posted images. And so I think it was not only that, but also just the details they gave us. Like, hearing, oh, there's going to be these, Pokemon that look like Pokemon that exist now, but are going to be called paradoxes.
Yeah.
And like, and I think the mystery surrounding that, because like there were reports that they were just Pokemon from imagination. There were reports that they were, ancient or future forms. There were reports that they were like, I don't know, there were other things that people like pushing time through them and stuff. So all of that combined, I think, just created a huge cloud of mist over these games that people wanted to figure out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
I
that's
think-
definitely a big part of it.
I think it's also undeniable that like in our modern society in media, I think it's undeniable that like any sort of controversy can be used to sell and cause more attention to whatever the product is. And I think, at least from my perspective, and I understand that the world is huge and there's a lot of people who don't actually know about the leaks, but I do feel like what the leaks did, in contrast to how little that the Pokemon Company showed about Scarlet and Violet, I personally felt a great like divide in the community. I felt like this was a smaller version of national decks, right?
Yeah.
It was less people outraged together, and it was more people just like there was like a lot of infighting. For me, I don't mean this is maybe silly because it's Pokemon, but it really does remind me of like just like the infighting of like politics. It's so stupid.
No, it's really good that you like kind of drew that analogy, because that is exactly what it's like. Even though, like you said, it's over Pokemon. That is how. I mean, think about the National Dex thing. People actually made like little campaign posters and were actually posting them under. Like, I think of the one where it's Gloria from Sword and Shield like shouting
gosh.
or whatever, and like
Yeah.
they like it looked like a political poster, like
Yeah.
it looked like a revolution call or something. But like
Yeah.
it really is. It did become like a political thing, just in the realm of
Pokemon politics.
right? Politics, if you
It's
will.
it's Pokemon politics. I can't
Here,
believe
is
it.
this This is the wrong one, but
Yes, that's it. Yep.
yeah.
It said bring back National Dex instead of no more Kanto. But yeah, I mean, it was. I'd be careful scrolling through Gloria art.
Yeah,
on
sorry.
Google.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oops. Yeah. Slow down.
Definitely.
All right.
But yeah, the leaks and that whole like topic of people being split on them, I can see it. It's like you said, it's kind of dumb to like argue about or whatever. And it is just people's opinions. Like somebody has this view and somebody has that view, and it's okay.
The
It's
thing
just-
that I just want to. I don't understand the true impact. Like I don't know how wide the impact actually is of the leaks, because we obviously spend a lot of time in the leak community. It's like our bread and butter. But I think I don't know. I wonder. They're the people who have leaked for the last 3 years. There has been people who have leaked the entirety of these Pokemon games, right? Obviously, and they've even suggested that they know everything about Generation 10 and Generation 11, which are obviously, like we said, in development. Those Pokemon generations are in development, right? This, Pokemon TPCI has a 10-year plan. But to think that like this person is just out spreading information and seemingly untouchable or unnoticed by the Pokemon Company, like I don't know, like that just feels like that, like maybe the Pokemon Company knows something or is okay with this in some way.
It's because I think that this leak cycle for this game shows exactly what it is. And Kayla's Capsule, who is a friend of ours, she did a really great video on kind of leaks perception on like by fans and kind of how it can affect sales. And the thing is, you said we've had a leaker leaking the last like 3 games, but the truth is he didn't leak entirely everything. He riddled stuff about these games that was just enough to get us excited without making us, it's like if I tell you, hey, Avengers Endgame is going to have time travel and it's going to be really cool. That's one thing. But if I tell you, hey, Avengers Endgame ends with Tony snapping the gauntlet and he dies, I've given you the ending. You have less interest from it.
Whoa!
Spoiler alert!
Major spoilers.
It has been years. You should have all seen it by now. It was a cultural phenomenon. But
Not
anyway,
Tony,
this guy,
Mr. Stark, I don't feel too good.
The new leaker we have, he doesn't do that. He literally just point blank gave everything, and you could ask him, "Hey, will this be in this game?" No, I mean he was straight up telling you what mons were and weren't in the decks, and
I think what's most important
all of it
is
within a span of 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think what's most important is that these people know the information, not necessarily that they give us all of the information, because I think the riddles are good. We've talked about this. Like the riddles are good, and that is essentially better than a trailer because it gives us something to talk about for multiple weeks, sometimes multiple months. But I think the fact that there's people giving out information that know undeniably at this point, know everything about the games. They know about it. Whether or not they share it with us is a different thing. I'm at the point where I almost totally believe that the Pokemon Company knows about this, has sanctioned it.
Absolutely do.
And I'm like, it must be part of their marketing rollout, right?
I don't think they mind the riddles. I don't think they mind the riddles. But the guy who actually leaked images of their game, they clearly did. I mean, he later, posted that their entire screens are covered with coding now. Like he couldn't get a picture if he wanted to.
Yeah. It's very, very true. I can't agree that they sanctioned it and that they he's working for them or anything. I think that they just see it. They definitely know about it, and they just are the riddles really don't hurt. Just like Lumi was just saying, it's just anticipation. It's just almost like trailers in themselves for the people that are actually following it. It's not anything that gives away too much. It's just enough.
I mean, even the Pokemon Company practices in the riddling game themselves. I mean, think about the Grafai reveal, how they first just posted paint on these trees and we're like, hey, what's this? And then they posted silhouettes and they're like, it's called Grafai, and it built up to the reveal. And then even with Iron Treads and Great Tusk, they didn't do an official full-on reveal for them.
Sure.
We didn't really see them in game. We just kind of saw that one image of the side of them and then the picture of them in the book. They like to do that themselves because they know that sells.
They've been doing it a lot more. Actually, it's hilarious because they're just taking riddles, the whole riddle, what's the culture, let's say, and just trying to apply it to their marketing, which is hilarious.
It's been great. I love it. I just wish there was more of it,
Not that they didn't do it in the past, too. They've always done it, but just to this extent.
Right. I think that they should kind of tweak how they do it. For one, more often, and for two, some of their choices were just a little weird. I remember everyone hated what's her name? Iono or something like that. It's funny. It sounds like I'm saying I don't know, but no, that's her name.
You're supposed to, yeah.
But
I don't know.
She, in her stream, she was like, what's this Pokemon? And you'll find out in 2 days.
Yeah.
And that was super aggravating. Whereas she could have just, what's this Pokemon? And then they put up a 30-minute timer. Because the thing was, they were telling us to guess the Pokemon. We can't guess the Pokemon. You haven't revealed it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless that was for the Leaks community.
Yeah,
maybe that
definitely,
was a subtle.
So that's the part of the official rollout and marketing that I did enjoy. I did like all those fun little things. I don't think they let it sit long enough. They give us a hint, and then within 12 hours we find out what it is. I think.
So you think it didn't sit long enough? I think they let it sit too long.
No, because what do the riddlers do? They give us a riddle, and then we're thinking about that a month from now, right?
But they're more complex riddles. These are a little different. Like with the Bella Bolt reveal, they straight up said it's squishy, it's electric type, and it's kind of cute. And I think it even said it has something that looks like eyes, but it's not its eyes.
So
and,
I
the
think
whole thing with that is, how would we know? We've never seen it.
Yeah, you are right about that. Like they could have given us more information, but still more time to digest the more information. What I witnessed is every single official piece of marketing that riddled something. Our first instinct was, oh, we know what the dex is from the leaker, so it's gonna be this one, right? But if we didn't know that, if we didn't actually know what the leaks were, and they were just showing us bullseyes all over these trees, like. Fakemon artists would be going crazy, thinking of new concepts. We'd all be like, "Well, what is this?" And then someone like Loxton would be like, "Oh, well, this type of animal, the eye uses bugs to make things, so maybe it's an eye, or whatever." I'm sure there's a ton of animals they could have chosen from. So I think.
I remember people were saying who didn't keep up with leaks. They were saying, "Howday and Smeargle."
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I
did
that,
too.
and I knew that it wasn't, but I love that people went there.
Yeah.
This is a huge topic, a huge other topic, and this has nothing to do with riddles and all of that. It has to do with the big leaks that came this year. And I was going to say earlier that I think these are the most leaked, actually leaked games.
Yeah. Oh, heck
in all of Pokemon history, and it was a ridiculous thing. I'm trying to think of themes for other hype cycles or pre-game cycles, but the theme for this one is just leaks happened. So Gen 8 was probably the national dex, but this was leaks. And anyway, the whole topic of how we knew everything because of this leaker just made all of those promos bad. because everyone knew, not because I would say not because I personally knew, or maybe a few people knew, it would have been okay. But when the general, a big majority, or the public, just knows what it is, it just sucks because nobody's guessing, nobody's speculating. There's only a little side, part of people over there that are doing it. So
I also think we were all frustrated with the lack of reveals that we got in the last 9 months. We were all like, why are they? They've only shown us 10 Pokemon. Why?
It took such
there's 100 more,
too.
right?
But once September happened, they did it weekly. But they waited.
It wasn't.
And
enough.
they always wait till June. Then they dropped one in June, and then they waited till August. So there's nothing the rest of June, and then July. That was awful.
Yeah. It was bad. So what I want to say is that was aggravating in the moment because we had so much anticipation and there was other real information coming from other sources other than Game Freak, right? But once I actually got a hold of Scarlet and Violet and played through it, even though I had seen the data mine a couple days before playing Scarlet and Violet, even though I had seen the Pokemon, just playing through it without official dex descriptions, official art, official names, playing through the game and discovering, oh, there's Bellybolt's pre-evolution, right? Or even Spidops, or not Spidops, Tarantula, right? Seeing that in the overworld, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Even though we knew there was a spider, and I did see what it looks like, the fact that I'm discovering what its name is for the first time in game, and there's so many Pokemon to discover for the first time, and I think these Pokemon look so great in Scarlet and Violet. The Gen 9 textures are a huge step up.
Oh my gosh.
Huge plus. The best we've ever seen in the series. And I think I think I almost appreciate how little they showed us because of that. So I do have some conflicting opinions. I think they could have showed us a little bit more, but I do like how they saved so much and close to the chest. I was like, oh, they're going to show us the Tauros. They're going to show us the Paradox. They're going to show the stuff off, right, to get the sales. They must have been so confident that this is their chance to not tell us everything because all that we need to know is that this is an open world Pokemon game and we're going to buy it because of that. And
I think it's funny
that's what happened.
I think it's funny that you, who is you do a lot of leaks on your channel, it's so for that style of marketing. Most leaks people are like, no, I want it all right now.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's fun to cover because again, it's we don't know everything about the game, right? Lumi, you and I were able to make so many videos just being well, we heard that there's a flamingo, but what is the flamingo gonna look like?
Right.
What makes it fighting? What makes
He's
it
my
flying?
friend.
Yeah, he's my
love-
amigo, right? Is he gonna be an amigo? Like, who knows? And like, because we knew, but we didn't actually know, I think that like it's almost more fun. It's like you go, this exists, but I'm not gonna tell you exactly what it is. It's like,
Gosh.
I want to know what it is.
I really wish I knew its name beforehand because I would have done some really fun little friend riddles.
Like teases, right?
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
You think this flamingo will be friend or foe?
Yeah,
Trainers,
good stuff.
are you ready to make a new friend?
Amigo?
I bet I would probably have said the exact word. Nobody would have ever got it.
No.
Right, no, because it's so obvious no one does.
Yeah, it's a genius name.
I do think that's a like really good segue though on the textures thing, Dusty, that you mentioned. Like the textures looking so good. I'm in agreement, and Soul, by the way, you were saying yes. I am assuming you're in agreement that those textures are amazing. But that's
Definitely.
one thing that I've seen like with fan reception is that there are the people who are like, yes, these are amazing. I want to see scales on Seviper. I want to see the fur on Flareon. But there are some people who prefer it to look like the anime style where, you don't see the textures. And I think that at least is a point of, should they do some games where it's like that and some games where it's not? Or do we want them to take this and build off this for future games?
That's an interesting point.
Yeah.
I'll just say that, like, I think what they did now is fine. Like, it's good, but I don't want them to go too realistic at all. Like,
Absolutely. I don't want it to be Detective Pikachu.
yeah, nobody wants that.
The movie, that is.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of Pokemon models that were ruined when they switched over to 3D because you weren't able to actually see really what they were, right? Like they didn't translate well to 3D, and this game allows you to see the differences in textures. Things like Lucario, right? Lucario looks like a plastic doll, but in reality it's like got fur because it's based on a dog, but it also has like sharp metal parts. So that, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Soul, but like I think that's the biggest thing for me. That's what gets me excited about this specific art style. Just like the dynamic textures, to actually see what parts of the body should be hard, what should be soft, what should be fleshy, what's metal. I don't know.
I can only agree. I mean, it's the progression of Pokemon. I don't know if there's people that really disliked it because I think that it's just subtle enough and well done enough to be like, this is good. This is good. If they go like a step too far, like I said, that won't be good. I think that everyone holds the standard of Pokemon Snap, the new Pokemon Snap, too.
Yes, that's
They're
exactly
just like,
what it reminded me of, right?
Yeah, everyone's just like, that's what we want. Keep going with that. And it's true. We want Pokemon to still be like cartoon anime looking. We don't want everyone to become real, really. Because if not, then we'll just have animals that look
some of them be horrifying real, too. I mean, I don't want to see a real Gengar,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like invisible.
Or a Loudred. There's a ton that just would not look good.
A Ranunculus.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, right.
It's straight up embryo.
So I think one of my dream projects, which started out just kind of like a fun idea, but I'm starting to think like maybe it actually is. I don't know. It could actually happen. Maybe in the next 5 to 10 years. I don't really know. But one of my dream projects is to see a new region in HD 2D. Like, I don't know what I've mentioned this many times, and part of me feels like, okay, they would want to return to this at some point, specifically because like that was the foundation of Pokemon for 10 years. 15 years, I think. And then but then also like I want every Pokemon game in a generation to like try something new, right? And we started seeing that deviation in Generation 8, and I think Generation 9. There's even more opportunity for that, especially if they're going to, prolong the generation out 4 years, right? Like, and we've seen that they've been playing around with outsourcing to other, what are they called? Just other companies.
Right.
Ilka made Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. For all its problems, we still got a new version of the Sinnoh region in that way, which allowed Game Freak to then make Pokemon Legends Arceus. So Yeah.
Ilka
What do you
also
guys think?
makes Home. I'm pretty sure. Doesn't Ilka work on Home?
They did. Yeah. Yep.
Because they made a game that couldn't even connect to.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I like the idea of it's like I think the problems that Pokemon started to have was that every generation had to be a further and further progression and had to constantly advance in technology. And it's like I don't think Pokemon's like that necessarily. Most games don't need to do that. At the core,
I don't think
they
Pokemon
need to
does.
be
I
fun.
think they're just kind of putting that on themselves. Because, like, for me, like,
No, I think fans are putting that on them.
really,
Yeah,
because okay,
not
well
me.
then maybe I'm running
Not
in.
you.
Well, no, I am
I'm,
definitely
Not me.
not me,
I
but fans, other people.
I'm in the boat of like I'd be fine with the next game looking like this with maybe the graphical touch ups of
Yeah,
like the frame rates being better and the walls not kind of morphing as I'm walking towards
yeah,
them,
yeah.
but
Yes.
like the
I'm glad I'm
the
not the only
art
one who's seen
style
that.
and the base graphics, I'm fine with that. Like I would do this here on out. But I will say, I said that about like X and Y too. I could have done the X and Y style from then on out. And now that
Yeah,
I have this style, it's like, no, I don't want the X and Y style. I want this style.
yeah.
So I
Well,
maybe
for a
there's something
long
to said there.
time, this open world didn't feel like it would ever happen for Pokemon. For a long time, the creators of Pokemon were very, very adamant that Pokemon was a handheld console or a
Right.
handheld game. Period. That we would never get it on console. Um, and so that's obviously changed. Open world, now we see that that's actually possible. I think that's cool. So I think, to your point, Lumi, I think like the magic of remakes were that we could just kind of like settle and live in the new engine, but from a new perspective of an older region, something familiar, right? That's always what a remake should do. I think BDSP failed in that way because it didn't really like give us a new perspective of Sinnoh. Legends obviously fixed that. Pokemon Legends Arceus did give us a new perspective, and not only the engine, but also the like literally the point in time that we were in. I think Scarlet and Violet is all about time, right? That's obviously the thing, right? Past, future. That's the whole theme of the game. Um, but and it gets me thinking, like, what could remakes look like in this game? We could get a remake in the Gen 9 engine, but then it's like, okay, well, what if they go back in time and they go, okay, well, let's give them like, okay, I don't want to do any spoilers for Soul, but like, I don't know. Anyways, let's say like they go back in time and they give us like Kalos. This is just off the top of my head. Kalos in a 2D format, right? And it looks like a better version of Black and White 2, right?
Yeah, see, no,
Or Kanto looking like Legends Arceus, or Johto looking like Legends Arceus, right?
I'm more for that. I want when they revisit regions, like the thing I was most excited about for Sinnoh remakes when we thought Sinnoh remakes would be right around the corner in 2021. I was excited to see the Sinnoh region, the region that I love, the one that like it's not my favorite region, but it is kind of where I would say it was like the most developmental region for me and my love with Pokemon. Like that was
Yeah.
kind of where I was really getting into the franchise and just really falling in love with it. And so it's very nostalgic for me. But I was excited to see it again in the Sword and Shield style. And so that's kind of me. Like when they do Unova remakes, I want to see the Unova region in the style of, it doesn't have to be open world, but in the like art style and graphical style of Scarlet and Violet.
No, yeah, I no, I agree with that. I think my main point with like if you make an HD 2D game, right? I want to emphasize that it's going to be HD. There's plenty of those indie games in that style, right? The main benefit of that is that you don't need to like you have to make the game look good, obviously, right? And there is a level of like art and quality there. I don't want to downplay like the talent it takes to make those kind of games, but because of the limitations, not the graphical. I don't know. I'm sorry if whoever's listening and saying like you don't know what you're talking about. I don't. Like, but
None of
because
us do.
so like we got an open world Pokemon game, right? It's huge in scope. It's very ambitious, but they don't have enough time, and there's so many glaring problems, right? I feel like if Game Freak goes back and makes a 2D game of a region that we only know about in 3D, what they can do is everything's scaled down visually, and they can give us more post game. They can give us more secret locations, right?
See, I would not like that. I would,
I think
because
that's
to
so
me it
cool.
feels like a downgrade for like they
It's not
did
a downgrade.
Kalos.
It's a
If they did Kalos in like a black and white style, even if it's HD,
sure.
I would be furious. I would be like, no,
What?
this isn't my Kalos.
What?
I
I
think it'd
want
be
to
so
see
cool.
it in the new style.
No,
I
because
feel-
you're no.
I feel
okay.
like
See,
the
I'm in
opposite,
the
though.
minority of that,
Yeah.
with that.
Well,
but
maybe, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people would agree with you as well. I
let
just
us
think
know in
that
the comments where you stand on this, guys.
yeah, definitely. I think that I don't want to see that until Gen 6, until Kalos, because Kalos was the first swap to 3D. So so if we're talking about making Gen 5 remakes next, I don't think it should be in a HD sprite format, because we already had like literally the best sprite artwork for Gen 5. It's
Yeah.
like it would just be like a black and white 3, like
Yeah.
literally a black and white 3. Which is cool. I would love it, but at the same time, it's not really what fans want for a remake.
Yeah.
I feel like the swap to 3D is a good time to go back to 2D.
Yeah.
So like Kalos would make a lot of sense. I agree though that you could make a Kalos that looks like HD open world, and that would be pretty cool too. It's kind of like they can do whatever. I feel like almost they should just do it like on a random region they've already done before. Like
Yeah.
maybe
Not like they
Hoenn
did
is the
Legends.
best.
I mean, they just randomly did Sinnoh, like
Yeah.
I feel like Hoenn is the best, maybe, because we've already got a remake of it. And
gotten in
I mean,
both styles, right?
yeah,
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I also think that like just because it's 2D, it's not going to be. It's not like you're playing. It's not like you're playing Gen 5. You're actually playing a Generation 9 or a Generation 10 game in 2D. So it's going to be like I don't think the characters. It'll play more like a Zelda game, right?
Right.
Like the two, like it's 2D, but you're not. There won't be a grid based system. You'll be able to move around freely. You can move all over the place. I feel like it will be a lot. It'll actually feel like a console game. And then also, we haven't even discussed this, but like then just imagine getting like moving sprites for Generation 6 and like in 7 and 8 and 9 Pokemon, but like as official
that'd be incredible.
sprites. That is so cool to
Yeah.
me. And I feel like that's something that like I don't even think that doesn't even seem that outlandish. I feel like that is literally the foundation of the company. Gen 10 does feel like a good time to do that.
And see,
It just-
that's so funny. I would hate this because see, my like, if Johto's due next, because like we say Unova, but
That's Johto's
if you
next.
look at the pattern, Johto should be next. The last time we saw Johto, it looked like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, so it was that 2D style.
Yes.
Okay, then we need it in this 3D style. Then next we'd have Unova, same thing. It was 2D style, so we need it in the 3D style. And then next would be Kalos, but now we're talking about Gen 11 would be when this
Yeah.
is. So we're in the 2030s, are we not? And so my whole thought process is
My kid's going to high school. At
how
this point.
different, right? How different will the games look then? Because then Kalos is going to, at that point, look so outdated that
Yeah, that's
I'm
a
not
good
going to want to revert it to the red and blue or black and white, even HD style. I'm going to want to bring it to whatever the Gen 11 style is.
Yeah.
It would actually be Gen 12 because it would be Hoenn after Unova. Or no, it would be Kalos then Hoenn. My bad.
So this is you see this like and I perpetuate this as well. But this like type of thing where it's like it has to be this, then it has to be this, then it has to be this. That's the kind of like exponential exponential pressure that I feel like Game Freak is under, and it's not like I feel like at a point they don't need to just keep making something that's like graphically better and better. I do think Scarlet and Violet has problems, and they got to fix that. Like it's not actually where it needs to be. Scarlet and Violet should have been what Sword and Shield was, but it's not even that. Like it's a fun game, but like they got to fix. Like it's for some people it's like unplayable. Anyways,
Right.
So I really think. I think what needs to happen is rather than just continuing this like pattern of like then this, then this, then this. I think what they could do is say this and this, like this, like okay, we'll give you a remake, but then here's something else that's experimental. Just like we got BDSP and Legends of Arceus
I
within the
would
same
be
2
all
months.
for that.
So like let's say
I feel like that's
Kalos
the only way.
happens. Yeah, so let's say Kalos happens in whatever year. Let's just say Kalos happens in the next 4 years, right? They would give us a 2D Kalos region, right, where they expand, and maybe it's like that's the game that's in the past, right? You know how Legends was in the past, but it was the 3D game. What if this one is in the past and it's the 2D game because it's it's old school, so like there's a whole theme there, and we get to experience Kalos before the Great Weapon or something.
See, now I feel like you deprived me of a Legends Kalos though. I want
no. But what I would say is like just because we have one Legends game in the past, the character travels through space and time and time and time. So it could be a Legends style. Then we also get a Legends Kalos in the future, let's say, right? Or whatever it might be. I'm just trying to say,
I
like,
want a Legends Kalos in the past.
Like, I don't think I think what BDSP, what 2020 did with getting 2 remakes of Sinnoh, I think that totally opens the door for more experimentation, right? Where maybe if we get Legends Johto, then they also go, well, it's been 7 years since Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, so let's give them a Kanto DLC in Gen 9. I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I want them to not move linearly. I want them to make a game over here, and then a game in this style, and then a game in this style, and that kind of paces themselves. That allows the main team to actually perfect the main generation, the main series, whatever you want to call it.
I guess I just feel a little burned because like they kind of did that this time around. And we got Legends from it, and for that I am so happy because Legends is a phenomenal game with phenomenal scenery, phenomenal Pokemon, new and like old, the way they look. Loved it. But we also got Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, which to me is genuinely one of the worst Pokemon games ever made.
Yeah, I agree. It's like Finizen. It's like, why does this exist? It doesn't get better than what its predecessor does.
Yeah, it's like Finizen in the sense that it's not at all, because Finizen is amazing and I will not take the slander.
Wait. So let's just say original Diamond and Pearl is Finizen. Then it evolves into BDSP, which is Palafin, and then Legends Arceus.
Oh, okay.
Legends Arceus is the hero.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's great. That's perfect.
All right, look, even I can't argue with that analogy. Yep. That's actually pretty good.
That's really good. That's someone make that a Twitter meme.
And then Platinum's Kyogre, where it's just a better Mon.
Platinum is Kyogre. It's what it should have always been. Where's Tapu Fini in this?
Oh Lord,
it's a swordfish, man. It's not a dolphin.
It definitely is a swordfish.
Tapu Fini is like Pokemon Ranger.
I don't know how people ever got a dolphin out of that thing because it's a swordfish.
Right, right.
It really is.
It's actually not even that. It's like a weird mermaid that's living in the corpse of a swordfish.
True. This is true. Last point on all of this is just that, like, the possibilities are endless for them in the future, and like I don't totally agree with you, Dusty. Like, they break the mold every single time. That's a reference. Deal with it. But like they just
hilarious.
They like go out of their way to just be like, oh, you think that Johto's next? Yeah, right. We're not going to do that. We're going to do something completely different.
I don't think people think Johto's next. Everyone always tells me Unova's next.
But Johto is next.
Yeah, we'll see. Either way.
We'll see. It could be Kalos.
Yeah, I just don't think that they're going to do a whole bunch of stuff, and the possibilities are endless. Like, they're going to change up all kinds of stuff on us.
So I guess before we move into like the viewer questions that I think we were going to read, I will say, viewers, you need to let us know what you think on this. Would you want a return to like HD style of 2D games for like regions that we haven't seen in that regard, or would you want the games to keep progressing graphically and actually look good?
Yeah. And we can do like a whole bigger episode on this as well, because there's so many thoughts.
We'll have to.
There's so many thoughts.
Also, let us know Johto or Unova next.
Well, my God.
So that's the thing. I guess I want to just bring up. I just want to get out of my head what I'm thinking right now. Like, this isn't even post game, but like you see on the map, in game, in the like on the Rotom phone in the map, you can see there's a blurred out area.
In Scarlet and Violet.
In Scarlet and Violet, where we assume Kalos would be, it's blurred out the same way Area 0 is blurred out. However, we can go to Area 0.
Spoilers for my next tweets.
Yeah, so then I guess
your eye on Soul's Twitter.
I really don't want to spoil you, Soul, but like, I mean, I don't know, like,
spoiling Soul. How does that work? I don't know.
I don't want to spoil you because you haven't finished the game. Do you know what happens?
I
at
know,
the
I
end?
know. I don't know like the details, but I know like the general ideas of the whole game. I
Han
know.
Solo dies.
Can you just say what you know about the end, like the big thing, so I can just reference it with the
I do not
context?
know the big thing. Nope, nothing.
Okay. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm thinking is like, we talk about like what game's gonna be next. If they're actually gonna do a big upset and change what we think. I was telling Lumi, I'm like, what if we get a game? This could actually be a spoiler.
Let me say mine first. Here you go.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a Legends Unova, but in the future.
See, that'd be cool. I have been
Like,
thinking,
very
while I
much
played
in the
this game, I've been thinking about Unova, and I'm like, there are just as many Pokemon in Unova. Like I feel like that'd be a great region, and it would be good for open world. I think Unova would be good for open world.
Yeah. It's
So,
cool. It's cool to think about.
yeah,
you guys
I
can do a
guess-
separate podcast on it.
Yeah,
yourself.
maybe we do that. Yeah, let's do that. I got
We're
so many
gonna do
ideas.
one. Yeah.
I got so many ideas.
There you go.
I don't want to spoil it though.
Dude, I'm gonna get spoiled eventually. Like, there's no way that I keep up with everyone else. Like, everyone.
just spoil you right
At the
now?
rate you're
No,
going.
no. It's just,
Oh, yeah.
It's just how it goes. That's why I don't care about leaks, because I play the game at my own pace. So everyone ends up knowing everything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still like trying to hold out a little bit. It's only been a week and a half.
All right, Lumi and I we'll record an episode later today. That'd be fun.
Yeah, definitely
All
fun.
right. So
Going
we got
back-
yeah.
I was just gonna say, going back to our original point, and that's it. And then we'll go on to discussion questions. Just the whole like 3 days, 10 million copies. I think that it's the biggest record like in it's I think
ridiculous.
oh dude, I posted a tweet about it, and they said that it's not even Nintendo, it's like the game in history on a single console. So like not
Really?
like not all of the consoles, like that was a multiple release. I forget what it's called. You know what I mean? Like it just was on the Switch and that's it. But it's the highest grossing, or not grossing,
Of
highest
all
selling.
of all video
Yeah.
games.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Wow.
Yeah,
So-
the quote right here is the highest global sales level for any software on any Nintendo platform.
Yeah.
So that's
I
what
think
thought.
it's on any single platform even. That's what I read.
Maybe.
Yeah. So
Dude, what's crazy is it's gonna sell. I mean, literally, like, just watch this thing. It's gonna have a huge bump from the holidays. It's gonna have a huge bump just throughout the year, and then they're gonna give us
When it
DLC.
when it gets DLC, it'll get a bump from that.
I think the biggest thing they have to deal with is the bugs and the issues, because if they fix it, if they just patch it, like in the next month, people will like almost forget about it. The people that haven't
Yeah,
played it
I
yet
will.
will just
Yeah.
do that, and it'll be a great game, and they won't have to deal with the backlash from it. Because going back to your original question, like the biggest thing for Gen 10 is them dealing with this. Like, will they get as many sales? Because people know what they're going to get now, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff. But anyway,
Jeez, man. All right. So, I mean, yeah, like Sol said, like we would love to hear you guys and your opinions in the comments. Speaking of comments, we're gonna read a couple comments from the last 2 episodes that we put out. So this question is from Alexander. Quick question: am I the only one who sees Bramblegast as a Delmise?
Does look
No.
similar. It does
we
look
all
similar.
think so, I think.
Because it's so
You know what's
they
funny?
share the
I never
same
thought
type.
about that till that comment.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I never I mean, I haven't been paying much attention to that specific Pokemon.
For
Like,
shame.
once he said that, just it popped into my head, Delmise, and it just zoomed in on the anchor, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a Bramblin.
Can I just say that I adore this line, and I've seen so much hate for it being a very redundant, and it is redundant line, but I love both of them.
I think
Yeah.
it's cool. To me, it's like, and it's funny because it's the same type. It's like the Gorgeist and Trevenant line. Like, I was not crazy about them when they were released, but like I thought they're objectively cool Pokemon.
They're cool. There's a lot of, like, in the last 3, maybe 6 years, they've given us so many grass ghost Pokemon, and this is one of my favorite for whatever reason. I think I tend to like Pokemon that are very simple in concept, right? It's literally just
Right.
a tumbleweed with
Yeah.
a soul. Like I
Bram-
think that's nice.
Bramble is cute, and then it evolves into this thing that's like creepy but cool. It's like very Halloween. I'm not really
It's a
like
little
one of those
smirk.
people. Yeah, it's got a whole mouth with teeth to me. Like if you look at it from a specific direction, It's got like straight up teeth, and it's amazing. I love it.
Very Halloweenish. They should have revealed that instead of Grievard.
How are they going to?
I totally agree.
How are they gonna like make a plushie out of this thing?
I don't know, but I will love it.
Oh man, that's a great point.
Right? Because like most,
Well, at some point, because there'll be like sitting cuties of them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, in 2043.
Right.
Right.
We're gonna do
we'll
in
have a whole
2043. In 2043, we're gonna do a review episode on the Bramblin and Brambleghast. Go ahead, hit the bell for notifications.
Hit the bell for notifications.
Dude, by then we'll have a whole new like material to make plushies with. So
yeah.
It'll work.
It will actually be a real Brambleghast.
It will feel like grass.
Yeah.
It will steal your soul.
Oh no.
So the next comment is by Desdar100. I'm conflicted because the more I play Scarlet and Violet, the more I genuinely do like these a lot. The big issue though is that the Pokemon's weight is starting to crumble on all those involved, and it's not only showing with Game Freak but also the anime. There's a couple different points here. I'm gonna keep reading. Them constantly following this rigid structure is only going to get worse and worse the more their games begin to expand. It's not healthy for anybody, and I do feel those who mindlessly consume these products, he's talking about me, are only just there because they're addicted to the brand and don't really care about the environment in which the games are releasing and is becoming complacent.
Isn't that what a fan is, though?
Yes,
kind of?
Exactly.
I am addicted to these games. I will 100% admit that. I don't think, like, are they saying, like, they don't care about the environment in which this game's... So, like, are they implying that perhaps they're being too hard on the game developers?
I think that's what maybe. Yeah, that does sound like what they're referring to.
Right.
I have because
they're saying that
that.
Yeah.
It's really just that they have multiple teams, so it's not.
Right.
They're good. They're really not
something
struggling.
They've explained too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But and also, I mean, look. I think it is harsh to assume that the highest grossing media franchise in the world is not, slave.
They're slave workers.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
No way. They're freaking rich.
I mean,
they're doing whatever they want.
It's a multi-million-dollar company that is under a multi-million-dollar company. They're being treated, they're being treated fairly.
Yep.
Yeah, probably. I think whatever else we have to say about this, we probably already said in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's true.
I mean, and look, if it comes out that Game Freak is like whipping their workers, then I will be the first to say, "Hey, I don't think that's good."
Yes.
Until then,
they did have whips and lollipops in Gen 1 in the Gen 1 Sprite.
You know what? That's a good point.
So,
and now those guys are in charge. So, the guys that made Gen 1.
Okay, and now we have another question by BRX Athartic. Personally, I'm glad there is no scaling. I explored until I needed badges, so I knew I could take on the easier gyms. But when I wanted a challenge, I went to face a harder gym way before I should have. It gives me freedom of choice, and I don't know how easy or hard it will be, whether I will lose or win. Instead of a constantly equal challenge. So what do you guys think about this? We talked about this a little bit on our first episode.
I do wish that there was scaling in the games. Like, I would have preferred scaling. I don't think that should be equal to your level. Like, I think it would be nice if, like, say I have a level 20 Charmeleon, it scales and actually does, like, the gym will be, his ace will be 2 levels above my highest Pokemon. So it will be a level 22 Staraptor or Staravia, I guess it would be in that stage. But I do think that that's a fair point. I think that some people definitely, there are others that will agree with him. My whole thing with scaling was just, I would have preferred it that way. I did make peace with it, though. It was like, oh, man, that sucks. Okay,
I have a lot of thoughts on it. I'll just say it really quick, but, like, I didn't care about it that much going into the game, but just, like, actually playing the game, it kind of sucks.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're the reverse of me.
Yeah,
I played the game with fun with it.
I swapped because I feel like it takes away from... I get. Let me start over. I get like it makes it more. You choose what you want to do, and that's what they were going for, and I like that. But it takes away from like the whole bonding experience with your team, and this is something that Legends did too, which I think they did it better in Legends actually. But like I've been just swapping Pokemon out because I don't want them to get over leveled. I'm just like constantly swapping, and I have no team really. I have no team. They're just a big mix of whatever. They have no. Just like, oh yeah, I like this Pokemon. I got to level it up to evolve it so I can get it in the Dex, and that's it.
No, I think that's a fair point because, like, I didn't have that experience, but I talked about this before. I rotated 12 Pokemon, so I never got over leveled because I wasn't using a team of 6. So that is a really good point.
I planned 2 teams, and I can't do it because, first of all, I didn't get like the other members of the second team yet, like their later game, I guess. I didn't like go out there to try to find them either, because their levels are too high anyway. So I ended up with like 3 teams, like a whole bunch of Pokemon.
Yeah. So I feel like the open world, the what do you want to call it? Like, I don't know, like
scaling.
The non-scaling. What that does is it does give players an initial choice, but with every choice, right, there's a consequence. If you go down, I was watching, my friend Umbreon Libris, he's a creator. He's been playing through Scarlet and Violet totally blind, and he, based on the marketing, right, he did all of the Titans, right? So he did the 5, 6 Titans, and then decided, oh, let me go battle Arvin, because that's the final thing you have to do at the end, and he got totally destroyed because he's not actually at the end of the game. And then he went to go battle the first gym, and he was like 30 levels higher than the first gym, right? So this whole thing of like you can do anything in any order, it's true. You can do anything in any order, but once you want to go do the other things, right, because we're all completionists, you're going to want to do everything in the game. Actually, you have to in order to get to the end of the game. It's not as fun. Right? The only fun part is going to be that first path that you follow. Or if you try to do everything in order, if you try to do everything all at once and slowly progress, then again, there's really no choice there. You're really just doing it all at once. Right.
I'm basically following that.
Yeah. My experience was that I pretty much did not pay attention to anything, and I just kind of like went, I just followed wherever it was most fun to travel throughout Paldea. And I got to a point halfway through where I was like, I'm over leveled and nothing is difficult, and I was having a really boring time. And when we recorded the last 2 episodes, I was like at the point where I was like, this isn't really fun anymore. It feels like Sword and Shield. I'm steamrolling everything. And I think this might be a me problem because I'm kind of doing what Soul is doing, where I'm like, there's all these Pokemon I want to use. Let me just keep switching them out. And I didn't really get too attached to a lot of my Pokemon until post-game. But I will assure you that at the end of the game, things got really difficult, and I bonded with my team at that point. That's true. And now I'm loving it.
Post game is difficult. I would agree with that.
I don't think it's a you problem. I think it's a level scaling problem.
Okay.
I think they can do level scaling, and it still be you choose what you want to do. Like, so what if you go to a gym and it scales to your level? You can go to whichever gym you want still.
Yeah. And maybe that's a setting they establish. I think literally the solution is if you have 5 badges, everything gets like a 10 level boost or something. Like all of the enemies get like a 10 level boost or whatever would make it, so when you go back to challenges the earlier challenges that you haven't done yet, they actually feel a little bit more substantial. I guess another issue that maybe we're not considering is that could mess up level scaling. Or I guess experience yield or something. But I don't even think that's a problem because you can get so many rare candies throughout the game doing raids. So that shouldn't be an issue, I don't think either.
I mean, I guess it's just that is kind of limiting to, the people who don't want to do raids. Some people just want to play through the game. And then
I've done 1 raid.
They're a lot of fun. Right. They're so easy to do.
Yeah, and they're so much better than Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
But they're raids.
They're quick.
Another thing, too, is especially this time around, raids are tough. Like, they're tougher than the Sword and Shield ones. I don't know that you could complete it if you're not completing it online. And then, an online membership is paid, so not everybody has access to that. If you're like a 7-year-old kid who does not have access to, his parents won't buy him the online membership because, they're weary of their kid going online and all. And then also you're 7 years old and you're the only one of your friends who plays Pokemon, you kind of don't really have the raid option. I mean, you could do like the 1, 2, 3-star raids. You can't do a 4 or 5-star raid.
Yeah.
At least at the beginning.
Yeah. There's only one more thing I got to say about it, and that's like I don't know why I know why they tied the HMs, let's call them, to the Titans, but I feel like it mixes it up too much where like you kind of, I don't know, the whole level scaling with the Titans and the abilities you get for Koraidon and Miraidon is weird to me as well.
Because it encourages you. So that's why Unreal Libris did all the Titans first. And that's
right.
I actually, after doing a couple gyms, I was like, oh, I need more traversal options. Let me just do all of the Titans real quick.
Yeah, it's a very it's like a little secret in there that really didn't work out. The mechanic itself. It's just
and if
weird.
you don't do gyms, then you don't get any Ultra Balls. You don't get any like additional things like that. It'll block off your ability to capture like higher level Pokemon.
Since they resorted them all to badges, like a Titan will give you a badge, Starfall Street will give you a badge, Gym will give you a badge. It's all badges. They should have just changed it to, 3 badges, boom, now your Koraidon can surf too.
Exactly. That's
4 badges, you now have Ultra Balls. Doesn't matter if it was 4 all from Starfall Street or if it was 2 from Gyms, 1 from Titan, 1 from Starfall Street, just 4 badges.
Yeah. I think, I guess, like, in their defense, they probably wanted to differentiate the rewards for each of the different eternities, right?
And
which is cool.
That was a dumb idea.
Yeah, it just didn't work.
Yeah, it works thematically,
Great plan,
but maybe it's
bad
not the best in
execution.
practice.
Well, and I guess I can kind of give it to them because, like, with the Titans thing, so you've beaten a Titan, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then there's a story element to why they get a new mode. It's because your Pokemon was damaged and they eat the Herba Mystica. So I guess that's the logic behind why they locked the, the ride features to the Titan victories. Again, it's like great idea, poor execution, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah. Next one.
That's it. Do you guys have anything else you want to say?
Cool.
I mean, just again to drop in the comments, Johto or Unova next, and also give us your thoughts on the whole 2 HD versus just doing it in the style of whatever that Gen's first game was debacle.
I think
how do you feel?
Really cool conversations to do later on.
Definitely.
Yeah. I'm excited to read those comments and go through those.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us for the 3rd episode 0 of Hidden Power. Like, subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a rating. And we'll see you guys very soon. Peace out.
Hit the bell for that Bramblin episode.
Yeah.